Oh man, I hate Mondays.
Nah, man, it's Tuesday.
Wait. What day is it?
You know what day it is? Tuesday. Brewsday, Tuesday.
Oh, fuck yeah. Grab a cold one. It's Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar and Six Pack Store. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
Good to go.
I'm good.
It is Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store in downtown Blacksburg. If you're watching on the video, you might have known there was a last minute technical difficulty issue, but it seems like everything's sounding good. We got somebody's fiddling with these knobs over here. I don't know. I've had to adjust them. Well, it takes me a while to remember what does what. So whenever somebody messes down here,
and the thing of it is they're right at knee level.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's just an accidental bump.
Because usually, if this were basketball season, it'd be like, oh, the toddlers were here, and obviously they were fiddling with it. Okay, but no, it's been damn near death.
Yeah. Either way, we are on the air and we are drinking beer once again, per usual, as it is Tuesday. I made the trek down to Galax and decided to go with the flow down there at Creek Bottom Brewing Company. And so I brought back a couple beers from there. I just popped their Scottish Export Ale, the Transatlantic 80. I don't know if that's the name of the beer. I guess I don't know. Does yours have a name at the top, like with a color on the label?
Amber.
Okay, so
and the color is amber.
Okay, well then maybe that's the name of the beer. Then 5.4% ABV, canned right there in Galax. I'm assuming. Pretty sure they brew it and can it. They do it all right there on site in Galax.
I mean, I wasn't there, you were, but it looks like based on the label that a brewery, eatery, craft beer market. So I probably know a thing or two. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, and you got the amber.
I've got the amber. It's an amber lager, 5% ABV, and brewed and canned in Galax. Beautiful color.
So we went down to Creek Bottom because one of the ends of the New River State Trail is down that way, ends basically in Galax, pretty close to the brewery. Actually, I know that I'm sure they get a lot of foot traffic and stuff from that. If I had to guess, because it's the end too. So you get to the end, then bam, you have a beer or whatever. We took the RV, which was cool. I guess I don't know if they're on Harvest Host, or I think Kirsty might have just given them a call and asked to say, hey, we're hoping to come down there. Is there any chance we can just park in your parking lot? There was it was a Saturday night, so it was bumping, man. I don't know. I don't get down to Galax very often, but I'm guessing it's the hot spot.
And that was a nice weekend.
Slammed. Oh yeah, the weather was gorgeous. It was
perfect.
It was a good day. It was a little windy. I remember because when we were parking the RV, I was like, let's park in that direction into the wind, because it can keep you up at night and sway a little bit if it's really bad wind, which it was pretty damn windy.
I do remember it being bad because that on Sunday we had a little cookout, and I was cleaning brush out of our driveway, the road in front of our house, and the side yard. So yes, I can confirm even here it was windy.
Yeah, well, and the reason we went, we were doing this big run, and I remember right off the bat there was just like tree we're having to like climb through the brush to get through on the trail. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be an ongoing thing, because it was just super windy. Obviously, this was a few weeks ago, so you might even remember that weekend I'm referring to. Well, really, it seemed like it was windy as hell for like a couple weeks here in the New River Valley. So
yesterday was pretty gnarly.
It was along that stretch. Either way, so we go down there. They have a big gravel parking lot around back, so they said we can just park there, but it was pretty slammed. So I did look like there was one spot along the back, so I swung around to turn around and try and we were going to disconnect the car so that I could try and park it. But the parking lot that we swung into to disconnect was, sure enough, good old Hersher Brewer's parking lot, which I guess he does auto paint, body works, and collision repair. So
not a brewer.
No, not a brewer. He works next to the brewer, but we swung into the parking lot to basically just disconnect and whatever. And he actually like waved us in, and he was like, you can park here. You can, and I was like, oh, well, they actually said oh, you're fine. You can just leave it here. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. So very kind of him to let us park in his parking lot. I guess, he was probably not going to be working on Sunday the next day. So he was totally cool with it. So it worked out pretty great.
Good old Southern hospitality.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think, I'm trying to remember this. Like I mentioned, this was a couple weeks ago. I think that we had already eaten a little prior to going down there. And I think we even brought some food to snack on later. So we go into the brewery to have some beers. But we did not eat, which I think next time I go, we'll plan to eat there, because they had like, the brick oven pizza, the barbecue looked really good. It all looked really good. It looks like the food might have been even more of a standout than the beer, honestly.
Pro move is a brick oven barbecue chicken pizza. Or beef barbecue is good too.
Oh, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I like that.
Combine it all.
So we did not get the food. However, I want to say there was like 28 beers on tap. Maybe half were theirs, and then they had some guest taps as well. So very solid selection. So I got to give them credit for that as well. So yeah, I was sipping the beers, doing flights. This was maybe the week before Easter, and they had some Easter cocktails. So BB got like I don't know, some sort of an Easter bunny cocktail. It was like a blue.
It's all peeps.
It was a blue cocktail that had a garnish with a peep. It did have a peep as a garnish on there, and she apparently had never had a peep. So that was a bit surprising. It was the bunny style one though. So is that still a peep?
Doesn't count. It's got to be the ducks.
I'm guessing it's still a peep, but is it a duck or is it a chick?
Well,
I always figured it's a chick. Like
what is a baby duck called though? Is that also a chick?
A duckling.
A duckling. Yeah, that's good. All right. You can tell I know a lot about farm life.
Beep 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 beep. But yeah,
Yep,
honestly,
check,
I never
right.
really liked peeps, but
you put them in the microwave for 30 seconds.
Well, that's
really funny to watch them expand, but
Well,
I've never eaten one and been like, yeah, this is my jam. I can't wait for next Easter.
That's what we always did with peeps, because I never really enjoyed them. I never really liked marshmallow younger. So
They come straight out of the package stale.
yeah, BB had never had one. And then the couple we started chatting with next to us at the bar, they had never heard of putting the peeps in the microwave either. I was like, that's the only thing to do with them. You really don't want to eat them, although it tasted better than I remember, frankly. But so yeah, the cocktail was good. Beer was solid. Again, doing the flights was great, and they were just very accommodating. The venue was huge. By the way, it is a venue. There was a live band there playing that night, and I just looked on their website. I guess they have music every single weekend, and they do trivia and all sorts of stuff. So we will be going back, not only because I want to go back because it was a cool spot, but because there was a bit of an issue with the run, and we did not get to finish the course and end actually at the brewery, unfortunately. So
oh no.
Yeah, I might actually save that, and we can delve into that on the next round. But let's just say the run did not go as planned, and it was supposed to be our big run. It was supposed to be like 21 miles. It was going to be the biggest run that we do in the whole training for the marathon.
Let's say the big run's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's your big one leading.
Which we're just a couple weeks away at this point. 2-3 weeks away.
What's your average, like, in a given week, how many miles do you run just leading up to this?
It's funny you mention that. So, obviously since we're training, we're doing more and more. We did that big one. I guess that was that in the month of April? I'm not sure. BB does this. She does this Strava app that has all these different challenges, and you get whatever. And she does this thing where she tries to run 100K every month. And usually, more often than not, 100K, what's the math on that? That's like, 10K, 62 miles, right? And usually, more often than not, we're looking at the end of the month. There's a few days left. She's like, oh, I got to do this long of a run this day, this long of a run this day to get it in time. This past weekend was what, the 15th? And she had already hit her 100K halfway through the week,
oh, man.
through the month, because we've been running a lot of miles. A lot of miles getting ready for this marathon, man.
I'm way behind. I've made it 0K.
Hmm.
I don't even know if I've made it an M.
You can do
I've definitely made it a CM.
a 1K would be pretty easy. 1K is only like, I guess, what is that, eighth of a mile or something, maybe?
I'm terrible with the metric system. I just
am
know
too.
I
feel like
definitely
I should know
run.
this a little bit better than I do. Yeah. I don't know. We run a lot. We've been running a lot, but it's coming down to the wire, and we'll scale it back, I'm sure, here in the next few weeks after.
So like,
the
do you
big boy.
super carbo load for a marathon? Like the whole week before, you just feast?
I mean, it. I think maybe, and that might have something to do with how poorly this run went. I feel like we kind of overdo it because in your mind you're like, oh, I'm running 20 miles. I can eat whatever I need. My body needs the fuel. It needs the carbs. It needs this and that. But I think that we're focusing too much on the carbs because we actually did a run this past weekend that went much better. Another long one. And the thing that I don't know how I never thought of this, but you're sweating so much while you're running. So you need to eat like salty stuff.
Yeah, that would be my thinking.
So thankfully,
Nuts and pickles and jerky.
Thankfully, Little Caesars brought back the pretzel pizza. So we had one of those before the day before. We usually like to have pizza and beer before the run. And thankfully, this past run, we were also tailgating, going to the spring game. So that helped, snacking on all those foods. So, and meat, I think we need to eat more meat to get iron. We need to get iron in our blood. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. We'll talk more about it and how crappy that run went and what went wrong in the next little bit over another beer. But first things first, let's go ahead and untap these from Creek Bottom Brewing Company out of Galax. I believe they're the only brewery down in Galax. They opened up a decade ago, established in 2013. Go with the flow is the logo and the motto of the brewery, which is what they do down there, man. It was definitely laid back, cool. The staff, everybody was real cool. HC, the bartender, I actually met him many years ago. We hopped on, we did like this event thing, and we went on a bus to go to the opening of the satellite Devil's Backbone location that they opened up, and it was like a whole grand opening event thing. And I met him on that bus, and so that was really cool. And I don't know if I'd seen or talked to him since. It'd been a long time. So we got to catch up. That was cool. And one of the things that I was kind of giving him a little crap for / thought it was hilarious was he had a sign behind the bar that said, some people like to be cheeky, I guess you would say, if you're married to a Scottish woman like I am. It said, I reserve the right to refuse service to anyone wearing a Nirvana shirt.
Oh no. And what were you wearing?
I was not wearing a Nirvana shirt, but
Okay.
it would have been, that could have been an issue, I guess.
That's
I don't
like
know.
when you go into the guitar store and they've got the sign saying
Stairway.
absolutely no stairway.
So I did not see anybody wearing a Nirvana shirt where you had to invoke those rights. I don't know if you actually would or not, but I thought it was funny nonetheless. Either way, this Scottish ale, I did not try this one at the brewery because I saw that they had it in cans and I figured I'd grab it later. Again, and I mentioned this to you when we first started. It might be because they're canned in there. It felt like there was a little wiggle room with these cans, and there is no carbonation really. So I'm thinking there might be something funny going on with the canning process. Maybe if I had had this there on tap, it might have been a little bit better. So I do think that's going to knock it down a peg or two, frankly. Otherwise, it does have some good flavor to it. It's got a nice drink. I'm also not huge on Scottish ales. More the women than the ales. I'm not too in love with this beer, frankly. I'm only gonna give it probably a 3.5. Not their best beer by far. Down there, I was drinking the IPAs and stuff were much more to my liking.
So I'm in a similar boat. I've got the amber lager. I do like ambers quite a deal. but yeah, like you mentioned, it was kind of squishy, and I'm a little curious about that because there was virtually zero carbonation. It's almost like I'm drinking beer juice. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the caveat that we're just gonna throw carbonation out the window, which I know it does affect flavors and the way it hits your taste buds. Even without carbonation, this is delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4.25.
All right.
I
not
would
too
be
bad.
intrigued to try it
From the tap.
from the tap
Mhm.
because I think what they've got here is the ingredients to a very solid amber.
Well, interestingly enough, the next round, another one is going to be canned, so it might have a similar issue, but the other one is bottled. So we'll see how that one fares. We are drinking Creek Bottom Brewing Company out of Galax. Awesome spot. Definitely get down there and check them out. In honor of HC Sign, we'll play some Nirvana. We will come back and drink some more Creek Bottom Brewers on Brewsday Tuesday. Stick around.